Joining us now for Happy Hour, we want to welcome Democrat from Ohio, Dennis Kucinich. Congressman, thank you very much for joining us.
It's good to join you. Thank you.
Okay, so, there's this take out there that the reason for the Obama administration's muted response and kind of taking a backseat and saying, wait, let me see what happens. We had this journalist, Aaron Klein from Israel, on and knows the situation very well. He's saying that, it's great for them to take a muted response because then this way Ahmadinejad, the Iranian president, is going to use it against the protesters, that the protesters are backed by the U.S., and there's an uprising to overthrow the government, which would not be good for the popular democratic movement going on all by itself there in Iran.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that it's very dangerous for the U.S. to weigh in at this moment. I mean, just think for a moment, to draw a parallel, if China had weighed in our election dispute in 2000, if they had taken a position in favor of one candidate, there would have been massive demonstrations in the United States. We should work diplomatically with Iran without trying to enter into their political decision-making process.
Representative, though, I'm going back to this again. A couple of weeks ago, I guess 2 weeks ago, President Obama was in Egypt saying that we're in supportive of Muslims as long as it's also a situation where they're promoting democracy. This would seem like a great opportunity for the Obama administration to come out and say, that's what I'm talking about. So, hey, guys, make sure that election was democratic.
Well, then he'd be seen as taking a position in favor of one candidate, and actually, both candidates, from a U.S. perspective, present some difficulties. I think you also have to look at President Obama's speech, where he pointed out that the United States at one point, more than 50 years ago, was involved in overthrowing the government of Iran. So Iranian people are particularly sensitive about any kind of U.S. involvement that could be whipped up politically and used against us. We have to be smart about the way we approach Iran.
I'm going to follow up. I'm sorry, Cody. I'm going to jump in. I'm going to disagree with you there. I see pictures of Iranian people with protest cards, green cards saying, hey, what about our vote? Our vote, we deserve a vote, in English. So they're not, the Iranian people are actually telling us, get involved.
Here's the copy of the congressional resolution, and I'm going to read you what it says. Congress passed this today, and I voted for it. It says, expressing support for all Iranian citizens who embrace the values of freedom, human rights, civil liberties, and rule of law. And so I think that Congress took a prudent approach. I think the Obama administration is taking a prudent approach. We certainly want to express our support for people exercising their rights in Iran. But at the same time, we've got to be careful that it doesn't look like America is trying to stuff the ballot box after the fact on behalf of one candidate or another.
Representative, you mentioned that word prudence, and that comes back to, I don't understand why our government, the Republicans and Democrats in power this time, are choosing to be prudent. They are constantly telling me that I've got to hurry, I've got to get this thing passed, I've got to get something else passed, or the world's coming to an end. These people in Iran, this might be the defining moment for them. What about having some sort of a sense of urgency about it all?
Well, the fact that you get the United States Congress in a single day without committee meetings to move a bill that takes a position that supports all citizens in Iran, I think that's a good move.
But you didn't really, but there's no teeth in that bill. I think that's sort of my point. You guys just sort of throw out some verbiage and say, hey, we got your backs.
Well, you just think about this. The last thing we want to do is to take a position that would cause those who in Iran who may not like the United States to say that, look, the U.S. is trying to interfere. I think there's a lot of goodwill among the Iranian people for the United States generally. I'm not talking about their leaders. I'm talking about the people of Iran. And I think that in the move that we've made here, we have shown that the United States takes note of their situation, but we're not going to be trapped into a position, which would be stupid politically, of saying that we want one candidate or another.
Well, we learned that with Iraq when we were backing Saddam Hussein, and look at how that bit is, where. The other thing as well is that, for their supporting the demonstrations outright, and the demonstrators on the ground say, wow, we have the backing of the U.S. government. They're going to come in with their missiles and with their tanks. Unless we're willing to do that, folks, you tread very carefully saying how much support you're giving these folks. I mean, we've seen this happen in history before.
Well, let's look forward, though. We need to negotiate a deal with Iran over their nuclear weapons. We need Iran's help in being able to solve some of the problems in the region. It's a nation of 90 million people. It's a very advanced nation technologically. We need to do what we can to bring Iran in to help us solve some of the difficulties that we're having in Pakistan and Afghanistan. And, you know, let's face it, if Iran is seen as being close to some of the problems that America's having, wouldn't it make sense for us to talk to them directly? And why should we alienate the Grand Ayatollah Ali Khamenei by making it seem that we're trying to tell him what to do as to what the direction of Iran should be?
Wow. Oh, Congressman Kucinich, thank you very much for joining us for Happy Hour.
Thank you very much.